With Jigsaw, though, I need to let you know they're going to want you to pay for contact information. But since I recommend sending them by U.S. mail, a hard copy of your resume, a printed out copy, then you don't need their email address. You don't have to pay for that. But you do need the name, and probably a good free resource for that. One of the resources I give my clients is look at the advanced search feature in LinkedIn. It does a pretty good job of finding the right people. You know, the limitation with LinkedIn is that it is first-person based. So if somebody hasn't filled out a LinkedIn profile, you can't reach them. But it is a really good source, for the most part, for mid to high-level professionals. Really, the secret to using LinkedIn is being connected with a lot of people, because the more connections you have, the more complete your search results are. And honestly, I feel that is probably the biggest benefit of being on LinkedIn. In addition to being seen and increasing your online presence, it's really important to be well connected, and that will give you some great search results. If you would like to send me a LinkedIn request, you can look me up, and it's Tammy Kabell, Tammykabell, and I would be happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. If you do that, then you expand your third-level connections by over 58,000 people. So that will greatly increase your search results.
Wow, that's incredible, Tammy. Certainly, again, a lot of great information that you're sharing with us. Is there more? Yeah, I'm always looking for more information.
That's not even scratching the surface of what the Internet can do for you. The main thing to take away from that technique is the focused, targeted search. It's not a willy-nilly direct mail campaign. It really is targeted. Your resume needs to go straight to the person that would be your hiring manager. That's the person you're looking for. Someone with the job title right above the title that you're seeking. So introduce yourself via a hard copy resume, one that's extremely impressive and shows you as a top performer, really positions you as an expert, and compels them to call you. And then you get a phone call. And, you know, literally 1 in 5 of my clients get jobs created for them because they're too impressive to let slip away. I hear that a lot. So the next technique that has proven successful for my clients is the number 2 of the three-pronged approach. So we've reached the bottom of the hour. I certainly want to get to this one next. Finding companies that are growing in your area and that are creating jobs and not just filling jobs because of attrition or when people leave. So this is really easy to explain, but it's a little harder to complete. Just like anything on the Internet, like I said, there's a variety of sources to find growing companies, but one of the best ways is to go to your local business journal online. And the online business journals are free. A lot of people think that you have to subscribe to those to get the information. You don't. Most mid-sized to larger metropolitan areas have their own business journal. So if you don't know, if you haven't looked at the business journal in your area, what you can do is just Google the name of your city followed by the words business journal. For instance, Kansas City Business Journal, and that's going to take you to the business journal. And if you don't know, Journal Online is actually a franchise, and every city's format is exactly the same. That makes it easy for me because no matter where my clients are, I know exactly how to navigate the business journal for them. So at the top of the business journal homepage, there's a news tab, usually in gray. So you click on that to see the day's top headlines, and then at the bottom of that section it says See More News, and you click on that, and it actually gives you the last 5 business days worth of headlines. You can also see today's headlines on the front page in the middle column. If you scroll down a little bit, it's in blue in the middle column. And what you're looking for in the business journal is any good news about a company. So that can include a company relocating into the metropolitan area, or maybe it's a company that's moving across town into a bigger space, or they just signed a large contract with a big customer or a municipality, or they just announced a new product or service, or maybe they received funding from a venture capital firm or a government grant, or they've received, or let's say they've announced recent profits or an increased sales amount, good sales over the last quarter. Maybe there's been a recent acquisition or a merger, or even a recent executive management assignment, so a new CEO, a new chief operating officer, something like that. The key is that it has to be company specific. You see things like there's a new business park that's going to open up next spring. You really can't do anything with that. It needs to be a company specific thing, something that you can congratulate them on. And then with the business journal, you do have to go a step further to find the company's address and the right person. Generally speaking, they will have a quote from somebody in the company, but most of the time it's not the right person that you send the resume to. And also, it's anything that comes from a press release. So these are news stories, but they're press release driven, so it's going to be any kind of good news about a company. And you might ask yourself, well, what if everybody takes my advice on this? Well, not everybody follows through with my advice, and I only take on 4 or 5 clients a month, so there's not a ton of people to know that until, the people listening to this call, and there's not thousands of people on this call. Not only that, but each of you are looking for a different position, and therefore you're contacting, or you will be contacting, different people. So not all of you are going to be contacting a CEO or the owner, founder. Generally speaking, it's going to be somebody a little lower down, maybe a C-level employee like a chief technology officer, a chief financial officer, or maybe even VP of operations. But, I give out great advice, and some people take it and some people don't. So when you take it, you're not in a huge crowd that's going to be doing that. One thing to note on this technique, though, is that I would want you to stay away from those lists that the Business Journal puts out, such as the top 50 under 50, which is the top 50 growing companies, for instance, in the Kansas City area, under $50 million, or the list of the fastest growing companies in the area, because every job seeker is looking at that and using that list. And therefore, it's very competitive, almost as competitive as having a posted position. So look for the companies that you've never heard of before that might have one good news story about it that not everyone is following up on. It's not this posted list that has, a great 50 companies because everybody's doing that.
Wow. So again, Tammy, lots of great stuff here. So let me just recap, because I'm taking notes myself here. The first prong of the 3-prong approach is determined by the kind of company you want to work for, and proactively contacting them by sending them a printed copy of your resume after finding them on Jigsaw.com. The second approach is to look in the business, and I just want to make sure I have this written down right, into the Business Journal online. And certainly if you live in our market, Kansas City, it would be the Kansas City Business Journal that you would type in Google search to find. So you find that online for free and proactively contact the companies that are doing well and have good news written about them. And then search separately for the address and the correct person, and again, send a hard copy directly to that person. So what's the final prong of this 3-prong approach? There's one missing, and so now you gotta give it up.
Well, I mentioned it at the top of the hour. So the third prong is networking effectively, and that's how to do it specific to job searching. A lot of people say, I do a lot of networking, but they don't do it the most effective way relative to looking for a high-level position or a 6-figure position. So it's using your own network. I shouldn't say utilizing your own network and expanding your network so that a much larger amount of people know who you are and what you're looking for. And there is so much information that I could go into about networking for a 6-figure position. I spend about 2 hours with my clients going over this topic alone, and it's something that I am specifically talking about throughout my coaching process with a client, which is usually an 8-week relationship. So I do want to give you, though, one technique that you can use that will greatly increase the number of people who know you're looking for a position. And at no time do I recommend asking that dreaded question, do you know of anybody who's hiring, or can you help me find a job, or can I give you my resume and have you pass it along to anybody that you feel might be interested? Those are really passive approaches. And so, in my opinion, they make the other person feel icky and uncomfortable because they've just been given the obligation of helping you find something when, with those broad questions, they don't even know where to begin. You know?
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, that is just really interesting.
It is. It is. So I want to talk about the technique of informational interviewing. I wanted to leave time to answer some questions, so I'm going to go. What I'd like to do, I think, is send out a 4-page PDF, some supplemental documentation about informational interviewing, because I'll go over it pretty quickly, but then I want to give you some additional information. So what I'm going to do is email that out when I send the link to this replay. I will send that out. It contains that document contains some really great forward-thinking questions to ask somebody, and there are just too many of those questions to go into, since I want to give us at least 10 minutes to ask some questions. So here's informational interviewing in a nutshell. Some people find that they do it, but there's a way to do it very effectively. So you find a target company, and it may be one of the ones that's in your list that you want to work for. It meets your target criteria. Or maybe it's a competitor in the industry that you're targeting. So find somebody on the sales team. You can do that through the advanced search feature on LinkedIn, because salespeople are willing to talk at length with anybody as long as you're not looking for an exact same sales position. As long as you're not a competitor or not looking to take their job, salespeople are willing to talk to you about the company, about the industry, to give you all the information that you need. So if you're looking for a new sales position, I would suggest calling someone in operations. And it doesn't have to be somebody high up, just somebody that will take your call. What you do is you can call the main number of the company and ask to speak to that person, and then ask for 10 minutes of their time. And you can start the conversation with, I was researching your company, and I determined that you're the one I need to talk to if I'm going to find out more information about your industry. Do you have about 10 minutes to answer some questions? And then you keep the conversation limited to a true information gathering session. You don't turn it into any kind of, hey, can you help me find a job, or can I give you my resume kind of thing. It is completely gathering information. In fact, when I send you this PDF, you can take 2, 3, 4 of those questions that I have on the list and use those. And at the end of the conversation, and be sure and respect the time commitment that you asked for. So if it's 10 minutes, at the end of the 10 minutes, briefly explain your current situation, that you're looking for a challenge, in this particular industry. In other words, give them your expertise too. What problem of the company, of any company, that you're exceptionally good at fixing. And then ask that all-important question, who do you know that I should be